I'll be like, anyone know how to fix my password? Okay, now I need to look at my old classes.
Dude, one thing you don't wanna do is if you audio trying to open it, you don't wanna pull it, cause then you pull out of alignment. The best thing to do is just you close it, like just kind of like wedge in between.
Okay, thank you.
Cause I learned this over summer, if you try to force something to work. you
Which
break
one?
Okay. To get started, again, you're gonna get a bit tired of this survey, but this is our data for our class project. So this time without the demographics. So I think it's easier to do on your computer, so I recommend typing in the URL, but you can scan it. So tinyurl.com/402FA24B. I'm just staring over your shoulders to see if you have time.
Yes, that makes sense.
So while you're finishing it up, I heard a few of you talking about classes in the spring. I know a lot of you have internships too, but if you're interested in youth, I teach a sports and recreation for youth development class. It's really a class about youth development. Haven't taught it in a few years. Well, I think unfortunately we used to do it in person, now we'll do it online, but it is a spring B class. So if you're interested in youth, I recommend that class.
What is the code?
335, PRM 335. Sports and recreation for youth development, spring B. All right, I want to talk for a minute, actually a few minutes, about app 2. Right, so application 2, which I realize is now out of order, is writing the methods section for your final project. So the way your projects will look, you'll have an introduction, methods. Methods tells us like how you collected data, the results, what you found out, and the discussion of what does it all mean. So this is the the methods section. So in the assignment, I give a little information about what a method section is. But really, for your purposes, you're probably gonna jump right to the example, and I air quote that because the example is pretty much what you're gonna do. It should be plug and play, okay? So as a reminder, what we're doing is that survey you took, you're gonna take that, I think roughly 6 times. And we're gonna use that for our data, both as a whole, and you're gonna look at your individual data. So your app 2 will look like this. This project uses insert design as a cross-sectional longitudinal or as experimental. Briefly describe it. Okay. Primary instrument of data collection was an online questionnaire. The instrument measured stress, coping strategies, overall well-being, and motivation to graduate. Stress was measured using an 8-item interval scale and included 5 subscales: work-related stress, family stress, financial stress, school stress, and social stress. The scale asks participants to indicate, quote, in the past week, how often have you ... Sample items include felt overwhelmed by school demands and felt isolated or lonely. Options for responses range from not at all to almost always. This is like, you can copy and paste this part, like everybody's got this part. The other pieces I've kind of started for you. Coping was measured, overall well-being was measured, motivation to graduate was measured. Okay, so you might be like, well, how do I know that? You know that because you can click on the actual survey. And you may, if you're not actually entering data, just enter like 999 or something there that's nonsense. We never throw it out. Okay. So this is the stress. And so I've given you this paragraph about this one. But you see the scale, you see sample items. So you'll fill in the coping one. So coping strategies were measured using 1, 2, 3, 4, 11-item, multi-item scale. Range from not at all to almost always. Then you're gonna give 2 sample items. Sample items included. You can just follow the format of the other one. Right? You can just follow the format of the other one. Same thing for motivation to graduate, right? Oh wait, sorry, I skipped. General well-being was measured using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items measured from 1 to 5, right? Just follow the format. And motivation to graduate. So all you need to do is follow the format I give you for stress. Do that for coping measures, do that for overall well-being, do that for motivation to graduate. Okay. I give you the next paragraph. The procedures, you can copy and paste. It's pretty straightforward in our case. We're collecting data in class. At some point, you don't need to do it for your methods, but at some point you're going to be curious about these different subscales. So work-related stress, family stress, financial, school, and social stress. So if we look at the survey, but I'll show you here. So you can also look at this spreadsheet, right, which is again hyperlinked from your assignment. So I've said the first one is like your stressors, and here are your 5 sub items: work, family, financial, school, social. And I tell you, work is measured by number 2 on that list, family by 4, financial 5, school is measured on 1, 3, and 8, social measured 6 and 7. Same thing as coping strategies, problem solving strategies 1, cognitive restructuring 2, 3. So that's how you know what the different items are measuring. Okay. What questions do you have about that assignment? Online? So I'll tell you this. I told you it would be optional, so I will keep my word. But you're gonna have to do it eventually, so you might as well do it and get some points for it. Okay, cause it's gonna go into your final project. Now, someone had asked me, what's the difference between optional and extra credit? And let me give you a specific example. Let's say your score in this class currently is a 95%. Let's say you do application, do this assignment, and you get a 90%. That's gonna bring this down. Okay. Let's say you do this assignment and you get 100%. That's gonna bring this up. Okay. Let's say you don't do this assignment, it doesn't change. That's what optional can and can't do for your grade. Now, I think should be super simple. Honestly, if it's not super simple, you're probably not understanding what's going on, so ask me. Okay. So I highly recommend just doing it now. Get those points. It's almost certainly gonna help you. You're gonna have to do it anyway. It is technically due, well, it is not technically, due. So this Wednesday, yeah, Wednesday the 16th, right? However, remember you have a 3-day grace period, so you really got till the 19th without any penalty. Okay. So I highly recommend you just do it. If you understand what's going on, it'll take you 15 minutes. If you don't understand what's going on, if it's confusing, ask me, because it should be fairly simple. So just reach out, we can clear it up pretty quickly. What questions do you have about that? Twice. So. Quick information, then we'll get back into the spreadsheet. So yesterday, so I'm part of this work group, it's called Future of Public Service. And so we've gathered faculty and staff to talk about what public service looks like, how we should adapt what we teach based on that, how we should adapt what we research based on that. Sorry, I'm trying to dim lights, I'm failing. So yesterday we did some focus groups with alums, current students, community leaders, hiring managers to talk about that. There I am. The reason I mention this to you is the number of times I was told Excel is a skill you need to have, or Excel is a skill I wish I learned, was several. So this stuff matters. It's likely going to help you. It's something that takes practice, okay? But we'll walk you through it. And having said that, I'll repeat to you what I said before. In 2 years, it's gonna be gone and you're gonna dump your spreadsheet into AI and just tell it what to do. But for now, this is still what we've got. So bit of review. So we started out talking about univariate statistics. So uni 1, variate or variable. So what are the statistics we can do on one variable? And so if it's a nominal measurement, we can do frequency counts. We can do modes. We cannot do the other ones. Ordinal, when we're talking about analysis, is always the same. Interval. You can do frequency counts. But you have to have what's called discrete data. So by discrete meaning there's clear markers. So like if it's rate your agreement on a scale of 1 to 5, then I can tell you how many people said 1, how many people said 2, how many people said 3. If I ask for your height in inches, I mean, technically I could do it, but it's getting complicated. Your 72, you're 60, you're 63, you're 45, X number of people said 20, so it gets way too many. So usually we don't want to do that. Okay. Same for mode. However, we can do mean, median, and standard deviation. Okay. Remember, standard deviation, a measure of how spread out our data are. So on Tuesday, we started to get into bivariate. Oh, I already filled this out. Okay. So two variables. So in this table, you've got your level of measurement across both sides. So we can read this. So we've got two nominal variables. That's a crosstab. It's a count if function. We've got a nominal variable and an interval variable. That's also a crosstab. It's an average if function. Okay. So take the average if they meet a certain characteristic. So on an exam, you will be given this table. Okay. What you'll need to do is identify the measurement level, and then you'll know what statistic. All right, let's practice. So this is a new spreadsheet because I tidied it up for you. So we're all starting on the same place. Sorry, folks in the classroom. These folks the link online, and I'll give it back to you. tinyurl.com/402 practice B. Practice B. Anybody in the classroom still need this link? So as a refresher, these are actual data from a project I did with Utah Jazz Youth Basketball League. We identified I think 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 behaviors that we call them gray behaviors. So is this okay? Is it not okay? You're not too sure. And then we asked people to rate on a 5-point scale how acceptable or unacceptable that behavior was. We asked how big of a fan of the NBA team they were on a 10-point scale, and then their role. Were they a parent, the coach, or a staff member? So on Tuesday, the first thing we did, we converted these to numbers. Then because this is a multi-item scale, we took an average across 10 of those, all 10. So each person has an overall mean acceptability. And then for the analysis, we counted how many people were in each of those roles, what percent of the total that was. We took an average score of their overall, how big of a fan they were. We actually didn't do this, but I went ahead and did it for you because we're going to start the next one. Let's take the average acceptability. So on average, people thought most of those behaviors were around the 2 out of 5, 5 being acceptable, 1 being completely unacceptable. So today, actually, we're going to do one more count function. And then we're going to do crosstab. So the count function we're going to do is around age. So we want to know how many people are in each of these age groups. So in B17 equals, where we always start with the equal sign, count if parentheses. Count if parentheses. Next thing we have to do is tell it what column we're counting from. So we're going to go to our data. We're going to click on column N, which is where the ages are. We separate expressions with a comma. So count if in column N, count if they're 18 to 24 years old. And what I did here, very simple, is I just clicked, right? I clicked on the 18 to 24 years old instead of trying to type it out. So as long as this matches exactly what's on the spreadsheet, this will work. If it doesn't match exactly, it gets complicated. Find out if it matches exactly. It does. Google Sheets is gonna suggest an autofill. I'll be honest with you, it's correct. But we're gonna say no, just for practice. Then I can just go to this bottom right-hand corner. So I get the like skinny plus sign and drag it down. Now, percent of sample, so we need to know, well, here's an interesting point. So one of the things about age is a lot of people skip it. So we have to decide what we want to know percent of sample. Do we want to know the percent of everybody who answers that question? Or the percent of everybody in the survey? If it's the percent of everybody in the survey, we should probably add another column which is not disclosed. There's no right or wrong answer here. It kind of depends on what you want to know. For our purposes, we'll just go with everybody who answered it. So in B22, I'm going to say equals sum, SUM. I'm going to highlight B17 to B21. So 432 people answered it. So now in C17 equals, click on B17 divided by B22, which is 432.
Equal. B17 is in the 17B or 17
Oh, okay, so.
equal?
I'm gonna go through this fairly quickly and then I'm gonna pause and give you some time, and so I'll walk around.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm Colton explain to you or not. Now, what we learned last time is if I drag this down, it's like, I'm gonna outsmart you. We're gonna not accept the suggestion, even though it was right. So I can teach you. So what happens when I drag down here is the program automatically drags the formula with me. So where this is 17 divided by 22, when I drag it down, it becomes 18 divided by 23, right? But there's nothing in 23, nothing in 23. So we want to keep it, we want this number to keep going down, but we want this one to stay the same, constantly in 22. So we add what we call anchors, which is a dollar sign. And I'm going to put it in front of the 22. It's the 22 I don't want to change, and then I can drag it down. I get it.
That was
Okay. What I want you to do, and I'll walk around the classroom and then I'll pop online if anybody needs help, is do gender on your own. So probably you need N and percent of sample on top of that. So see if you can do gender on your own. I'll walk around and see if you need help. Folks online, I'll come back to you if anybody needs help in a couple minutes. Okay. I'm gonna do it real quick so you know what the answers are.
Where? Oh, it's fine. Okay, so you can put the dollar sign. Oh, like this. Oh. And then we should do it again. Okay. Oh, I put it, okay.
Need help. Oh, no, you're correct. It's just a formatting thing. So if you highlight those, and click the 1%.
Oh, okay, thanks. Oh my God.
You may need to format it as a percentage. I think I thought I defaulted it that way, but maybe not. You don't have that yet, raise your hand.
Ish.
You have it ish. All right, I'm gonna work my way from left to back.
What are you trying to do with this?
So I typed out myself, even though when I did, I pressed equals average, press that one divided by 432 out of the dollar sign.
Yep, I did. Exactly what I did.
Well,
And then also.
so then how come everyone else got 31 and I got?
Oh,
Whole number.
so percentage.
Are you using outside of that?
Schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, oh my goodness.
So cool. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
qualified,
Yes,
obviously,
yeah,
but.
yes.
But the internship,
I need-
undergraduate students.
Yeah, all the qualifications are like.
Let's make a note of that.
Also, they need to have. it with
All these notes I'm about to have for this, that's crazy.
So I don't know
Okay,
if
that's
they
a
did.
weird requirement, just ignore
I
it.
did.
And where is it?
Motherfuckers in his face.
Where is it?
I'm in.
I remember how it was like the descriptions in Phoenix, but like that other one didn't.
You know, this is shady. What's this? Phoenix.
Right.
Other site ranges.
Yeah, that's right.
They are
Remember what you're doing.
Except for the other locations.
Not every time we.
Yeah.
Right, because you don't have a total yet, so you need to have a total.
Alabama.
There you
That's where Ryan's from. That exact city. Huntsville.
Mm.
Huntsville. Yeah, I know, right? But I mean,
That's crazy. The South?
some of the things that he does not make me forget.
That kid didn't look anything like Ryan.
Okay, and then I
Jake,
did you.
never mind, you said
Yep.
your story, he looked like Jake. That kid was one of those.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Grace, you still need it?
No, I just forgot about this button, the move the decimal point.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, everybody else?
In Florida, not right now.
All right, I'm gonna skip down, we'll come back, but because we were just talking about gender, I'm gonna skip all the way down to row 63. So here's where crosstabs come in handy. So let's say we're interested to know, so we have this measure of how acceptable people think behaviors are. So we want to know why, what drives that? Okay, what explains that? So maybe it's gender. Okay, maybe men feel differently about the behaviors than women. Okay, so this is where we get into crosstabs to compare. So acceptability, reminder, it's this here in column M, right? Column M. Okay. What level of measurement is that? Nominal, ordinal, interval.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
interval, yep. Interval, okay. And then gender, what level of measurement is that?
Nominal.
Nominal, yeah, okay. So, if you're not sure, you can go to the little chart and say I have one nominal variable, one interval variable. It's an average if. So interval data, remember I can average. So what I want to do is take an average. So average acceptability if they're male, average acceptability if they're female. So equals average if parentheses. Now, I'm gonna preface you with like, one of the reasons I prefer Excel over Google Sheets is Excel gives me a little cheat. Like, and it tells me what order this goes in, and Sheets doesn't, and I always forget the order. So we'll see if I get it right.
See, mine does. Mine is giving me criteria underscore range.
Are you in Excel or Sheets?
Sheets?
Oh, okay. Sheets. All right, so what's the order, Grace?
It's the criteria underscore range is.
Okay. So, the first thing is the criteria. The criteria here is gender. Are they male or are they female? Okay. So I'm gonna go to data and I click on column O. Okay, column O, which is gender. And again, raw this binary is oversimplified, but it's better for analysis. Comma. Oops.
And then criterion.
Yep. So what gender do I want? In this case, we want to look at males, so I'm gonna click on A64, male. Comma, okay, what I want to know, the average is acceptability, so I'm gonna go back to data, and click on column M. Okay, so what I'm telling the program is, take the average acceptability score if they're male. Hit enter. Decrease the decimal because that's gonna bug me. So males 1.74 on a 5 being acceptable, 1 being unacceptable. And again, because I set this up this way, I can just pull it down 1.
I see.
Okay, so on average, men they rate these 1.74 in acceptability, women 1.7. So, what is your takeaway? What's your conclusion here? If I want to know which gender is more acceptable of behavior, of gray behaviors, what would you say?
Men.
Men, yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, this is not much difference, okay, and we'll learn next week, like, how to determine what's a big difference, what's not. But a little bit, men, okay? So let's look at age. Let's see if age makes a difference. You wanna try, yeah,
We're all getting different numbers.
okay, I'll come look. All right, do you wanna try this one on your own, or do you want me to walk through one more time, one more? Walk going through one more, okay. Equals average if parentheses, okay. I'm gonna take the average level acceptability if they're in that certain age range,
Column N.
okay? Average is, great, it's getting the hang of this. Column N, the age, comma,
18 and 24.
I click on the 18 to 24, that way it's gonna allow me to write it down, comma. And then again, we're looking at acceptability, which is column M. Decrease the decimals. And drag it down. Interesting. Interesting. Who is least likely to think that these behaviors are okay?
55 to 64.
Yep, 55 to 64. Okay. Who is? No, wait, you flipped it. Okay, so 1 is unacceptable, 5 is acceptable. I may have just phrased it. I may have phrased it wrong. So,
Oh,
55 to 64 are most likely thinking behaviors are unacceptable.
yeah, oh.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I may have phrased it wrong. Okay,
And
I'm
then.
sorry, see, I'm flipping it.
For 18 to 20.
Because Excel wasn't hard enough, I'm gonna screw up what I say, just to mess with you even more. Okay, so 55 to 64, rated the, 1 is unacceptable, most unacceptable. Okay. Right. 18 to 24, closer to acceptable. Now I'm questioning myself, but you get the general idea. Now, this is interesting information. Right, we can think about which, if we're doing a behavior intervention, we can think about which age group really needs the information. But one thing to watch out for here is sample size. Okay, and that's where if I scroll back up and look at my sample size. Okay, so I only have 3 people between 55 and 64 and only 6 between 18 and 24. So is that really telling me something useful? Probably not. It's not that many people. Okay, so you've got to look at multiple data points to really think about it. So why don't you start, we'll go up to mean fandom by role. Okay, so actually don't do that one because there's a typo. So by age, do mean fandom by age and mean fandom by gender. So how big of a fan of the NBA team are they based on age and gender? Okay. You work on that, I'll walk around and answer questions. Okay, are you just getting different answers?
The average is.
7. 2. You're doing mean acceptability. You're doing mean level of fandom.
Oh. Hold on. It's still not a different.
Right, so, M.
Oh, I got lost.
Yeah, let Megan do it in 63, see if we get the same thing. She was in a different cell. The numbers were so similar, I think you thought they should have been the same, but you were actually doing something different.
I have a question. So, in the beginning, we did the gender, right? There's 2 others. Do we just ignore the others?
Hold that question, I'll answer her.
Oh.
Me,
Yes.
I don't know.
I got the same numbers.
What did you guys get? I just don't know what function. I literally just what we did last time. And I just Is it average if? Yeah, I just don't know what function. I realized I did average if, but it's not.
I think it's
average.
Yep.
But I did that, so
So average level of fandom, if they're 18 to 24 years old, yeah.
then it would be the criteria range. Oh, by age, okay. I think maybe it's the male, but it's not actually. And then it's not one.
There's different ones. Wait,
I think this one's asking about level of fandom, which is column B.
Oh,
Does it mean it's done?
wait,
Yeah, it has a scale of it.
Cause I
Okay.
did.
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
One up there.
Yeah, that's what's hard, I think, right now. We're still trying to figure out which ones.
Wait,
Oh, we're doing this right
how do you,
Decimals. It's just.
Wait, so the easiest way is to go.
I'm literally writing down the steps to do all of them.
Increase decimal, increase decimal.
wait, where?
So click on the cell.
I don't know, I'm confused on where
One
we're
of this
at.
increase, one of this is decrease decimal.
Oh, you're not
Okay.
using
Figure it out.
the new one?
Okay.
Oh, that's
Are
probably
you
why.
using the old one? Oh, that's why we're wrong. Okay.
Oh my gosh, you guys kill me.
Yours,
Where
okay,
does he
yours
have
is
that?
three.
Is it a link or?
Yeah, it was like a tiny URL.
Okay.
Yeah. Oops. I gotta put that, not just. Oh.
So you're gonna have an issue there because it's listed as recreation staff. There's a change and that's why I was like,
yeah.
that's why I was like, oh, there's a typo there. So if you type recreation staff in here, probably, I haven't seen the rest of what you've done, but my guess is that was your issue.
What was?
Mhm.
What was one I
Yeah.
did? Trying to think which one.
So I did the equals average if. And then I did, the first column was the H's, which is called N, comma. Then obviously that one, the H. And then the last one was D.
Oh, sorry.
But I got confused on the B one.
So I had to write the first time.
Yeah. Cause you can't read the full thing it said, that's why I didn't know if you need to column B, but.
Richard. I had to write the first time.
What is the difference between acceptability? What is acceptability?
It's how acceptable they find that behaviors.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
yeah, it's the
L.
content of the survey.
It's an L?
Do you just wanna find us the column B, or do you want us to find the percent of the sample in C too?
Sure, yes.
No, just the number.
Oh, just the
The
number.
random with a one through 10. I didn't help at all.
Oh, we have the, no, I was wondering if you wanted to find it for.
L.
Oh, we'll talk through that.
I was just gonna skip,
What would that tell you?
but here, let me.
Like you already know from up there what percent of sample is 18 to 24. So what else would you be trying to find out here?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it's just different age groups. Talk some.
I could not be doing this on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. This on Zoom, I would be so much.
They're not doing it.
It looks like most of you have it. Give me 2 more minutes. How you doing, Grace?
We're still trying to find out.
So first thing I do is not an average, an average.
They ended.
Yeah, I've been helping that.
Let's take the
I'm
average.
working
If-
on
Oh, you're
it.
doing it.
I didn't know the difference between accessibility and fandom until right now. I was using accessibility the entire time.
Yep, you're good. Yep. Oh, yep. B on data.
Thank you.
Yep. That's probably correct. All that is really.
You wanna use this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then you gotta change this one. Yeah. Because I will say, I mean, one of the challenges is showing you an example. It's like you don't know its data, like. I know this like the back of my hand. I'm like, yeah, Phantom, that's in level B, that's in column B, acceptability, that's an N, like, I know, like, if I lived it. You're like having to muddle through both the Excel and like where to find stuff. So, like for your projects, so you might look at like the different stress coping strategies by major or by gender or I forget what else we captured. So Kayla asked a really good question about gender. So there are 2 others here. Okay. So first of all, this is an absolutely terrible way to ask about gender. Male, female, other. No one wants to be other. Okay. The most common way we do that now is male, female, prefer to self-describe, and you can self-describe. Now, the reality is, frequently when I'm doing this type of work, I'm working with a community partner. And so it is about that community. So this was in Utah. So the fact that they let us even add other was somewhat surprising to me. I did another project with, actually, I don't remember which they did. But I've definitely had communities be like, nope, male, female, period. You're not adding anything else. I've had communities where we've listed gender as male, female, cisgender, female, transgender male, transgender female, non-binary, like we'll have like 10 options. Sometimes that's just about messaging. So sometimes they might want to list all those options because they're sending a message about the type of community they are. Or they only want to list 2 options because they're sending a message about the type of community they are. For analysis purposes, when we got like people who do not fit in the traditional male, female binary, I almost always ignore because it's not enough to really say anything meaningful, usually, okay? So we usually do end up analytically ignoring them, unless I'm specifically focused on that population and we're seeing more work that way. So it's usually like almost like political, like you're sending a message by what you ask about what type of community you are. But yeah, so calling any human being other is really terrible. I don't care what it is. Sometimes you're at the mercy of your funder. All right, folks, what questions do you have?
Which one is acceptability and which one is fandom?
Fandom is B,
Oh. okay.
accessibility is M.
Okay.
You just can't read the word fandom. I'm gonna actually expand mine. I'll think about it.
Okay, I want to show you one more. So if you scroll down to row 75. So this is an example. This is now a multivariate statistic because we now have 3 variables. So in this case, I want to know their roles, or are they staff, parent, coach, or just coach by age and gender. Okay, so now I have 3 variables. Okay, 3 variables. In this case, all 3 of those variables are nominal. I'm sorry, well, nominal or ordinal. And analysis ordinal we treat as the same as nominal. Okay. So all I can do is count. Okay, all I can do is count. If one of them was interval, then we could do an average ifs. Okay. So if we were looking at mean fandom by age and gender, I could say average if they met this gender criteria and they met this age criteria. So you can say average if they're male between 18 and 24, average if they're female between 25 and 34. Okay. And the example I've given you is it's 3 nominal or ordinal, so all we can do is count. Okay. So the way you do that, okay, first of all, the text says recreation staff, so change that, make it life easier. Equals count ifs. Okay, count ifs, because I have 2 ifs, I have 2 criteria. Okay, count, actually in this case, I have 3 criteria. Okay. Gender, age, and role. The nice thing about criteria is the order here doesn't matter for just counting. So parentheses, data, let's do role first. So column A, comma, what do I want to say? Recreation staff on A77, comma, let's do gender. So O, comma, what I wanted to say. Click on the male, comma, what's next? Age, column in,
Oh my goodness.
comma, and then I click on the age, which it's now gonna hide and make my life difficult. Go away.
I can't see,
So I have this sometimes. It's
Oh my
the
gosh, I need a
B's,
photo
don't
of
type it
this.
in, B76. Okay. So.
One.
one person, I have
A760.
in the survey, one staff member that's male between the ages of 18 and 24.
Well. Glad we found that out. Okay. Equals.
You, yes and no. Yes, you can drag. However, it gets complicated because you've got things going this way and you've got things going this way. So the anchors get complicated. So I'm gonna recommend that we don't go over that. If you get into a situation where you need to do that, I can walk you through it, but it gets complicated. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh, I just have a.
It's a question for me to answer for everybody or come on? Yeah,
Hate to be that person, but is this going to be on the exam?
no, you can be that person. No, I don't know why I paused there, because no. What you will see on the exam, you'll see data, so it'll give you results, and you have to make sense of it. Okay. The other thing you will see on the exam is I'll give you a question, like, let's say you want to know how many recreation staff are male and between the ages of 18 and 24. What function is that? And you're gonna say, crosstabs count ifs. Now, you're gonna have that little cheat sheet table on the exam. So even if you don't remember, you're gonna go to your table and you're gonna be like, oh, that's one ordinal variable, that's one nominal variable, I'll read the table, that's a count if.
And is the table gonna be filled in?
The table will be filled in for you. Yep, you will not have to memorize the table, it'll be filled in. So try a couple of those, see if you can get them.
I already did.
And yeah.
I can't believe I'm understanding this right now. I'm just like, I'm on a roll. The only way I just did take a picture of the things
I
though.
don't get the.
Yeah, that's.
So, 'cause there's just a lot of columns.
Yep, it's a lot of commas. and
So for
columns.
me to kind of. But I need the recreation stuff. A. Recreation stuff.
Can I show you an average ifs function? So I just added this, so you can add it. So let's say I want to know fandom, so how big of a fan they are based on age and gender. Okay, two criteria. Okay, fandom is interval, so I know we can take an average of that. Okay. So this becomes equals average ifs. Okay, I know the S is there because I have more than one criteria. Parentheses. Okay. First thing I need to tell it is what am I averaging? In this case, fandom, so column B, comma. And then I tell it all the criteria, and the criteria order doesn't matter, so we'll do gender, that's O, is male, comma, age, that's column N, comma, what age do we want? We want, oh, it's hiding it from me. B83. So average fans for males in that age range is 8.11. For female. Female 7.04. So for people between ages 35 to 44, who are bigger fans, men or women? Man. This starts to get complicated. And I won't even give you something that complicated on the exam, I just want to introduce it to you.
Oh, he.
Take a couple minutes and play around with some of these and see. Like, sometimes, probably not as much because you don't know this data, but if you had data that was interesting to you, you could be like, oh, what do I want to know? Are people different by age and major? Are people different by age and gender? Are people different by whether the right hand and the left hand and age is? Like, you can look at all these different comparisons. So take just like 3 minutes and play around with that, and then we'll move on.
What is the same number every single day? Is that a real question? Look. Like, keep doing this 2, 4, 7, 2, 6, 7, 2, 4, 7, 2.
You did not mess up. There are no parents in that, no male parents in that age group.
They just called me for.
If you messed up, it will give you an error message.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If you mess up, it'll give you an error message. If you're getting a 0, usually that means there's 0, in this case, there's 0 parents in our sample that are ages 18 to 24, which is a good thing.
Oh, I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but I have the same numbers. You're not doing what I'm doing, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah.
Ifs. Number 1. Yes. And then
Or could you put the increasing in the comments?
Yeah.
No?
Oh, I see. You said data A1. No, you need
The column.
no column.
Oh, I must have accidentally pressed
Yep.
the wrong thing.
Yep. Yeah, these are the things that happen. You just go on your shoulder.
I fixed it. That's also cool that you can fix it in the. That bar. I'm just going. How I found this? I found this guys.
Yeah.
How am I saying this?
Oh.
And then, so,
This is-
yeah, I will give you examples.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you'll just, I'll say, if you want to know this, what do you do? And you're gonna go,
I
have
like
one,
that.
2 nominal variables, I do 3
Actually,
different
really
things.
well.
That's all I do. And you don't have to memorize that. 1 more minute, folks, and then we'll.
What am I missing? This word?
What's your criteria for column B? Oh, I know. It's a, so you want to know
So
the
excited.
average fandom based on that criteria, so it's an average ifs. It's an average ifs. Oh, sorry, Q, I'm late to show you.
There were 0 parents aged 18. You should do a data set to see how well people do on app 2, depending on if they were here or else.
Actually, I have one, I think. Well,
I was like, that's kind of interesting.
It is really interesting. All right, I'm taking pictures so I know who's here and who's not. I could actually be easier to take a picture of Zoom. We're gonna see,
I'm like,
app 4 is really relevant, makes a difference. Okay, folks, app 4 is where you'll use these skills. It's not due for a couple weeks, I think. But what I want to tell you, so you're going to download some results. It's some data that compares in-person students to online students. You can download the results. You're going to analyze it. There are videos that walk you through, like if you're lost, each part, click here, click here, click here, click here. Okay, so if you're lost, you can walk through those videos. I do find that even though I always tell myself not to make dated references in these videos, inevitably I say something that's like dated. So all the information is still relevant. If I reference something that, like, it's really cold outside or something, that's why, like, I don't need to re-record them for that. But that's all there. Again, you've got a few weeks on that. I actually need to update the assignment instructions. There's one little detail I need to change. But that's, yeah, October 23rd. So you've got some time on that. I'll fix it. So if anyone wants to start, because if it's fresh in your mind, or you want to get ahead in fall break, you're welcome to do that. Frustration staff, male, female images. It's hard to also see the formulas. Yeah. Online. Q, I might need to show you separately. We can hop on a shared Zoom later if you want. Let's try that. I lost one cursor. Back to me.
Hey, are the rules counted?
or what now?
Yeah.
By age.
I have.
Where am I one?
Okay.
Oh, I don't know, I didn't do it.
Okay.
I don't think we did
I
it.
think it's.
That might just be fun.
I don't actually, it's so changed. It did. It went from Times New Roman to Calibri.
Yes, LS.
Count ifs.
Yeah. Okay. Equals count ifs.
Okay. Like, wait, hold on. I was writing averages.
Yeah, so all these are nominal ordinals, so you can only count. But you had other areas.
Yeah, I counted.
Oh,
Okay, so, the nice thing about this is it doesn't matter the order, so whichever one you want to do first. The first thing you have to do is do the range. So it looks like you're doing your criteria first, you do the range first. So if you want to do roll, so go to data, no, backspace.
As we go to the data.
Yep,
first, and
yep.
then you do it.
Yep,
Okay.
So I was.
yep, so go to the data, pick whichever column you want, yep, comma. And I'll tell it. Yep, comma, let's now do your next one, so. whatever you want. Okay, comma. Gender you want to count. Oh, you didn't tell it which gender you were counting. Go back to your analysis. Yep, column. Page range. There you go.
Thank you.
There you go. Yep, Yeah, folks, it just, it takes practice. I wish I had a magic formula for you, but I don't. All right, folks, here's the plan. Here's the plan. So app 2 is due next week. Again, because I told you it would be optional, I won't back out of that. But you're gonna have to do it eventually anyway. It should be easy, so just do it and get those points. If it doesn't seem easy to you, reach out to me, because it really should be something you can do in 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, 30 max, I think. App 4, you got almost 2 weeks, but that's gonna be doing this stuff. That is gonna take you time, particularly if you're struggling with Excel. It shouldn't be too hard because you can walk through the videos, but give yourself some time for that. Part of that assignment is like doing the stuff in Excel or Sheets. Part of it is understanding what the data mean. So we'll talk about that more next week. Hopefully you're getting some ideas. Thursday, a little break for us. Thursday, back to normal. We'll be out of Excel. We'll be talking about correlations, which I think are fun, but I think a lot of stuff is fun. So, but back to normal and out of Excel on Thursday. You'll still, like for your assignment and your final project, you'll be in Excel, not on your exam, but your final project, you'll be in Excel, okay? So remember, our final project, we're looking at different stressors, how we cope with those, and how that impacts our overall well-being. And you're gonna look at everybody as a full data set, and you're gonna look at your individual data, so you can decide like, hey, like overall well-being is better when I use this coping strategy. Okay, hopefully you can sort that out. What questions do you have? Comments? Snide remarks?
I won't be here next Thursday.
Not your snide remark? All
No.
right, you missed some fun class, but okay.
Is
All right.
that fun class?
Well, I think they're all fun, so yeah. All right, folks, have a great break. Do try to take a break. You need it. Do something fun. That looks like the heat's actually gonna break for us. Actually, probably next week, maybe not in time for fall break.
Yeah.
And then it
Have a wonderful break. I'll see you in a week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Why did it see? Oh, that's of course it's about culture.
Be back on Tuesday. I have one.
Oh,
Higher
I
up
wonder
doctor, and then there's like.
I'm in such
So they keep like going back and forth. prescribing me, So I'm just like, I gotta go to work.
I can wait 5 minutes.
Come on, let's speak. I really have to.
I did everything.
Form sentences.
Same number.
But I'm having a good day today. It all depends on how much I take the pain meds, but
Yeah.
the pain meds give me the brain fog. So it's like, either I
Choose
feel
your
good
poison.
or
Yeah.
I'm mentally
Yeah.
or physically hurt, but I mentally am not.
Yeah.
As capable, but it'll be nice to have a break.
Yeah.
For me, it's the commuting and in the heat that
Yes.
wears
Okay.
me out.
I just have
So-
it wrong.
That's like the end of next week starts to look nice.
Honestly, just being able to like stay focused
And it's where
is
they
good.
go
And I have
the
my
age.
big doctor's appointment
Yeah.
Friday next week, so.
I put together long squares, and you think that
Really
for
my
me is
last-
where 18 and 20 is, so whatever you're 18.
Kind of we're like trying to get them to understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also there.
They keep dismissing.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Not crazy.
No, but I went through a big procedure, so that's why I'm
Website
trying
or
to
you guys using
They're probably gonna
to
try
try
and
and
find
find
nothing.
internship?
I just look on LinkedIn,
Just
Or
LinkedIn.
Teamwork Online, so.
I like Handshake right now just because it is specific for ASU.
Can I just take a day like?
Do you prefer that to LinkedIn?
Talking to
I haven't really looked on LinkedIn a lot because I'm still working on my profile. So because of that, I haven't really felt like,
No, and I.
like, yeah,
How much did you apply to?
Internships, I'll go and see my dad.
0. I haven't applied to anything.
I applied to 5 and I got
Cause I
denied
don't,
1.
cause I don't know what I want to do right now. Well, cause,
The thing is, my.
well, here's my other problem is there's
I
always
also
really
pretty
good
bad,
opportunities in
like,
the summer.
test anxiety as
Yeah.
well.
I'm trying to do it now.
I was on a lot of meds
'Cause-
that day,
Yeah.
so my
I
brain
kind
was
of
just
maybe
not,
will
like,
do 2 internships, maybe
really,
like do
but,
something
like
now,
I said, I'm
whatever I can
still
find, and then if there's an opportunity in the summer that is.
Way
worth
more
it,
important things in life than one exam.
I don't know, that's also
I-
frustrating,
I
because I found
agree, and
nothing
I'm
that's
just
good for
trying
this
to-
semester so far.
Yeah,
The
everything
summer-
I found is.
I think like when I went
There's
through
there's
it,
one
I
at the
really
Los
did
Angeles Angels, and it's really interesting, like about sponsorships, which I recently started learning about in events class and started liking it. And I was like, well, it's in the summer, like.
And it's always one thing, right? Like if it's not full-time or during the summer.
Or it's not paid because I only do a paid one as well.
Yeah.
It's like, it's literally,
Yeah.
it's so hard trying to, cause you can walk and then do your internship in the summer after.